Hello, and welcome to JKerniferAstrology. In today's video, we'll be covering the new moon in Aries and spring equinox on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. This Aries season, we have two new moons in Aries. The first is on Tuesday, March 21st at 1:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 0 degrees of Aries. This is also our spring equinox in our astrological new year. So the seeds planted under this new moon will also count for what we work towards not only the next year, but the next years to come. We will be bookending this astrological year with two new moons, both at the first critical degree of Aries and the final critical degree of Aries. I'd like to begin our exploration of the new moon in Aries by talking about Tuesday and its etymology. Tuesday is Mars Day. It comes from the Old English Tues dog, meaning Tuesday, Tu being the Germanic god of sky and war. In Norse, this was Tyr. In Latin, this translates to Dies Martis, Mars's day, Mars being the Roman god of war. In French, Mardi. In Spanish, Martes. In Italian, Martedi. Numerology for Tuesday, March 21st. The numbers 1, 2, 3 and 3, 2, 1 in numerology both signify signs of courage and encouragement that you're on the right direction and that new beginnings and exciting new starts are on their way to you. The 3, March being the third month, and the day 2 plus 1 add up to 3. So two powerful forms of 3 right there. The Enneagram number 3 really captures the numerology of 3 very well, and you can find some patterns in both Gemini and Aries. Very quick, at times impatient or impulsive, wants to get the job done. It's very driven, it's very ambitious. With the Enneagram number 3, I like to think where there's a will, there's a way. And I also like to think of that karmic number 13, where if we do cut corners, we'll face instant karma for cutting corners, especially for things like lying or dishonesty. It is ruled by Mars, and it rules over various parts of the body affecting the head, the brain, the adrenal glands, the blood, the arteries, etc. It rules over our first house and our ascendant, which rules over our persona, our personality, the most surface level of our personality or the mask we wear, the energy that people perceive from us, especially upon first impression, but it may not necessarily be aligned with who we truly are. This time of year is associated with the flower Narcissus. So is Aries energy, the flower Narcissus, and the beginning of spring. The ruling flower for Aries is Narcissus, and I wanted to share this because it's another important symbol of spring and the spring equinox. Where I live in the northern hemisphere, daffodils, or Narcissus, are one of the first flowers of spring to emerge in March, sometimes late February these days. Now, the flower got its name for an old Greek myth about Narcissus and Echo. Narcissus told the story of a very vain young man who was gifted, blessed, if you will, with God-given beauty, but he was warned by a soothsayer never to look in his reflection. So he carried on his way, he lived his life, rejecting every suitor who would present themselves, reserving himself for only the finest match, only to fall victim and fall in love with his own reflection beside a patch of grass one day. And now he refused to leave his side, even when other young suitors came and begged him to leave the water side. He refused to leave, and there he died. From his ashes sprouted the flower Narcissus. For more information or another version of that story, I wanted to link to you Candace Owens' version, which she ties to a cultural theme of narcissism, which is very Saturn and Pisces, through themes of narcissistic self-pity, victim playing, and an overall over-identification with that victim identity and mentality. Victim, villain, and messiah can all be the same person. Aside from the synchronicity of 321 and 123, that it's my father's birthday. Let's take a moment and say happy birthday to my dad, my brother, and my doges, my dogters, Lily and Kiwi, who turned 4 on 4/4, and all the other Aries out there. It's your season. My father, my dad, my best friend, was born at the 0 degree point of Aries, meaning that he incarnated in this lifetime to learn and embody Aries for the very first time, and serving as an important guide and teacher for me along the way. The 0-degree new moon at the very beginning of the astrological wheel, which rules over our ascendant sign and first house of the most surface level of our personality, called our persona, which is how we're perceived by others who do not know us well or upon first impression. The first house includes themes of personal empowerment, autonomy, liberty, freedom, and independence, and is ruled by Aries energy. 0 degrees is the very first degree of a sign, and it's where we start our astrological and natal wheel. This energy is brand new baby energy. It's here to learn the energy for the first time. It's a cardinal degree point, indicating new beginnings. Today's topic, March 21st, 2023, the new moon in Aries, first day of Aries season. New moons are for manifestation and growth because they offer an alignment of luminary energies of the sun, representing our soul's expression, and the moon, our intuitive or emotional nature. This alignment allows us to set intentions for what we would like to manifest that's more aligned with our soul's true and authentic purpose. This first new moon in Aries, on Tuesday, March 21st at 1:23 p.m., is particularly special to me with the sun, moon, and Mercury aligned in 0 to 5 degrees of Aries. That brings us in alignment of our intuitive and emotional nature, our soul's expression, and Mercury, our logical conscious mind, all in one focused playing field with some really energized. The sun is exalted in Aries, so this is going to be really beneficial and lucky for all of us. We have the sun and moon. It's a little harder to see, but each tick mark is accounted for. You could count, and 0 to 29 would all be covered, and the planets are represented in this graph form based on the directions they're spinning, directions they're traveling, and their speed relative to one another. So for example, the moon is relatively quick. It moves through each sign in 2.5 days, while the sun takes a day per tick mark. Mercury follows very closely to the sun. It's always within a sign, also moving relatively quick. And then you'll have Jupiter, which stays in one sign for about a year. So you can start to see how these would develop patterns and overlays based on each planet or planetary body's orbit relative to the other planets and their orbit from our perspective here on Earth. As you can see from this diagram, these planets are all in tight conjunction with these planets, creating a focus of energy over this way. We also need to pay attention to key player Pluto at 29 degrees and Mars approaching the 29th degree of Gemini. Both Pluto and Mars are deliverers of karma. On the day of the new moon, 1:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have 1, 2, 3, Moon, Sun, and Mercury in tight alignment in the sign of Aries. That's aligning our intuitive and emotional nature with our soul's expression and our conscious logical minds. Also approaching conjunction with Jupiter and Chiron, so Jupiter expanding and providing wisdom, while Chiron is our deepest soul wound. So expanding upon our soul wounds, bringing them into the light so that we can, through conscious awareness, heal them. The beginning of Aries season, late March, early April, we've got Neptune still in conjunction with the sun and Mercury for a few days, so really just late March. I'd say after March 27th or so, this will clear up. But Neptune, especially anyone suffering from escapist, avoidant, or addictive tendencies that have been giving into those tendencies, that fog will start to lift a little bit, allowing your conscious mind a little bit of space and distance for some clarity. That's coming soon, don't worry. Aries is ruled by Mars, so we also want to think about Mars in Gemini in square to that Neptune energy. So that is going to be very foggy, very cloudy, but once we break through that cloud, trust that your motivation is on the other side. This would be a really good time. Don't be too hard on yourself about having not gotten into those New Year's resolutions yet. This would be a really good time to create the vision board and to create the intentions, to write the goal list and work on diving into that when Mercury is a bit deeper into Aries and helping you focus a little bit more. Here is a chart of the current planets and planetary bodies in transit. This is hand-drawn by myself. Feel free to take a screenshot if you would like. I have highlighted in orange what would be in challenging aspect from our focal point this month, and in yellow, what will be in harmonious aspect. On the positive, Aries can be independent, pioneering, and entrepreneurial, energetic, forceful, assertive, athletic, courageous, outgoing, dynamic, and adventurous, competitive, determined, and ambitious, a natural leader. Negative, Aries can be my way or the highway. I do what I want when I want. Selfish, narcissistic, arrogant, and domineering, impulsive, impatient, and immature. Short-fused, often to the point of violence, intolerant of others, hot-headed, and stubborn. Aries is something that rams forward without really thinking or taking the time to lay a plan, and not necessarily in a negative way. The Aries journey is the epitome of Joseph Campbell's hero or heroine's journey of self-realization and self-actualization. Trusting your gut instinct and intuition in the moment and acting on it without hesitation. Preparing for this video prompted me to look up Joseph Campbell's chart, and I was amazed to find how many Aries placements he has. If you take a closer look, you'll see he has his Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, and Mars all in the sign of Aries. Joseph Campbell has his Mercury and Jupiter conjunct at 6 degrees of Aries, also conjunct his Sun at 5 degrees, with Mars nearby at 21 degrees. It's no wonder he authored a book titled The Hero with 1,000 Faces. Aries energy makes me think of Nike and its logo, just do it. Remember, trying and succeeding and trying and failing both offer valuable ways of learning and growing. What is calling you? What new business could you start? What self-imposed limitations do I need to release on the path to self-actualization? In what ways have I been avoiding directly communicating how I truly feel? And now for some crystal recommendations for Aries energy. We have the carnelian, promotes courage, confidence, willpower, protection, and creativity. Bloodstone, which promotes presence, persistence, and courage. Citrine, which promotes creativity and intellect. Rose quartz, which promotes self-worth, self-love, both of those so you can attract true love. Amber, which promotes relaxation and positive energy. And sunstone, which promotes energy, enthusiasm, and focus. Each and every month, the moon and her cycles afford us the opportunity to die to the old versions of ourselves and reemerge better, stronger, more aligned with our authentic soul purpose. The beauty of life is that we are all the mythological phoenix, undergoing an almost constant process of death and rebirth. Our thoughts control our emotions, which affect our behaviors and ultimately reality. Anything that's taking up too much real estate in your mind, it's time to let go of it. This is a wonderful opportunity to identify any potentially limiting thoughts and belief patterns that are keeping you small. This new moon in Aries, we will not become distracted. We refuse to give up. Embody that warrior and survival spirit. It's time to remove all self-imposed limitations and beliefs. It's time to create something that has never been done before. It's time to start that business. It's time to speak up about how you feel. Bulldoze and plow through limiting boundaries. Leave a comment below. I'd love to see what you'd like to see more of, what you connect with. any questions you may have for me, feedback. Keep it constructive. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your active engagement helps the messages within reach more people.